Okay, it's a revolving door. Fine. Fine. We're not clever in English. We don't come up with cool names for things.
Welcome to the English language. I don't know why you're surprised.
We could have called it a shootaroo, something fun.
We could, you know what? Let's call it a shootaroo from now on.
Yeah, cool. So he's in the shootaroo.
So he's in the shootaroo, and he keeps going. What's poppin', y'all? Welcome to Post Finale. I am your host, Ankit Madhira. I'm an actor and a musician who hasn't seen a lot of films, so to make my friends happy and potentially provide a new perspective on some popular films, I am on a quest to change that. I'm never on this quest alone, however. This week I am once again joined by director, actor, podcast partner, Stephan Nieman. Stephan, how are you doing?
Yeah, tired, but what else is new?
What else is new? That's pretty much how we function in life. We're always tired. We just keep moving on. But wonderful. Well, so I know that, last week when we were talking about this show, and for us, it really was, I think, last week or earlier this week when we recorded. I don't actually remember when we recorded the last episode.
3 days ago.
3 days ago. There we go. Time's a construct. So
words and time is hard, ladies and gentlemen. The words and time is hard.
Yes. But so pretty much I asked you, when did you first see it? So you've had that question. So now you get the follow-up question. If you were to play a character in this film, who would you want to play?
Truman, 100%.
Okay.
Why not? You get to live in bliss for a while, and then shit hits fan.
I haven't fully gotten to shit hits fan, but I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Fair. Very fair. Very, very fair. I do find that most of the time people say the main character, so I'm going to ask you a follow-up. If it wasn't the main character, who would you want to play?
The best friend role, because it's just,
Marlon?
Yeah, sit there, drink some beer, hit some golf balls. Why not?
All in a good day's work. That's all you need.
I'll take some free beer.
I mean, hey, if my job is that, cool.
Yeah.
So, wonderful. Well, why don't we just jump straight into the episode? There's no point in lollygagging. So where we left off, ladies and gentlemen, I have just made a prediction. I will just restate the prediction in case anyone has forgotten in the last week. I'll just go through it real quick, and then we'll continue on with the film. So my prediction was that Truman is about to realize that something's wrong after he sees that his dad is ushered away. He starts to put it together that the people in the suits are bad people, and then he tries to come up with clever ways to break out of New Haven. At first, all of this is going to fail, but then the people in the real world are going to start sympathizing with Truman, and the viewers of the show are going to try to get him ideas on how he can potentially break out. I think eventually Truman's going to break out. He's going to find this mystery girl who we're about to learn more about, and he's going to be able to start a new life in peace. That's what I think is happening. So let's continue on, see how right or wrong I may be. So I thank you for not saying anything. Trapdoor intact. So Truman is studying. He's in the library, and he says he needs to commit this to memory, whatever he is studying. And this mystery girl is also at the library. Truman recognizes her bracelet, and he stands up and sees her over a small shelf, says hello. We learn that her name is Lauren Garland, and Lauren says that she isn't allowed to talk to Truman. He understands. He's a dangerous character, which I just loved the way that Jim Carrey was like, I know. I'm very scary. I'm a menace to society. No, you're not, Truman. You were the kindest human being in the world. So Lauren says that
this imaginary world. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a world where you're the only one who could be real, maybe you would be the kindest one in the whole world.
Right? Wild. So Lauren says that it isn't up to her and she's sorry. And this is where I had a thought, and I was like, did they fake Dad's death so that Truman would develop a fear of boats, and then the boat is the only way to get off the island, hence it's a way to keep him there? Like, is that what's happening? Like, wow, this is messed up.
Yeah. I mean, They are planning everything for him. The girl falls into his lap. That's the girl he's gonna get to marry. That's his best friend. Like, his best friend's gonna cheat on him on the exam they're about to take. This is planned. All
Yeah, okay,
planned.
but the best friend cheating is just like normal everyday things. Like,
I don't let my best friend cheat on my paperwork.
you don't let them cheat. That doesn't mean that they don't attempt to.
That's true.
An
Earn your-
attempt may be made.
Yeah, fair.
Whether it succeeds or not, that's a different story. But no, like, again, it goes back to that whole thing that we were saying. It's not real. Like, none of this is real. They claim that it's real, but it's not, because they are setting everything and they are setting the path. If they truly wanted realness, they would allow it to be real. But then they would also, make sure that people are like, hey, like, what's happening is happening, but you need to be on board as an actor, that like you can't tell him, but whatever happens naturally gets to happen naturally. So like, you may be on this for a long time, you may not, because like Truman might be like, Marlon's my best friend growing up, but then Marlon might be 13 and Marlon might just decide, I don't want to be in this show anymore. So then they make up a storyline of like Marlon's moving away, right? Like, that's still okay. But if you actually want it to be real, you can't do what they're doing, which is just dictating his life.
It feels like a long form improv show where like you give someone a suggestion and they react in real time. Because it's like all the TV show is basically Jim Carrey's character Truman reacting to situations
Yeah,
in reality.
that's really all it feels like. So Truman goes through every reason that she can't talk to him. And he's like, you have a boyfriend? No. Meryl? No, we're just friends. No. Look, I'm not your type. No. And Truman's confused. And I'm like, Truman, I feel ya. Like, this very pretty girl, you've given her all the reasons of why she potentially shouldn't talk to you, and none of them are accurate. Like, what is going on? Poor guy. Poor guy. I feel his pain. So Lauren is wearing a pin that says, how's it going to end? Truman likes it and has been thinking of that himself. And, it's fun that they've brought this now, because like, it is, all right, how's this going to end? Because at this point, I think like we all kind of have an inkling, like with that light falling, again, like I said, I don't know what's going on, but I do feel like Truman's going to be able to break out of here. But again, it's that thought of how's this going to end? Because there are so many different ways that this could go, in the sense that I'm hoping Truman breaks out, but there is also the very good possibility that Truman dies at the end of this film. I don't know. I'm just saying it's an option.
I won't answer yes or no.
Cool. We move on. So he then asks Lauren out on a date for pizza on Friday or Saturday. And Lauren is looking around, kind of like she's expecting someone to come whisk her away. And she says, I can't, but then writes in her notebook, now. So I'm like, oh, we're going on a date now. So Lauren says that if they don't go now, it's not going to happen. So they go. They sneak out. They run away to the beach. And at the beach, Lauren says that they don't have much time. They could be here any minute. They don't want her talking to him. Truman says, don't talk, and then kisses her. Not gonna lie, pretty good line. Well done, Truman.
He's happy.
He's happy. He nailed it. I've heard worse lines in films.
Yeah.
Out of all the lines before you kiss someone, pretty decent. It's a pretty decent line.
Definitely.
And so while they're kissing, a car shows up, and Lauren starts explaining things to Truman, which I did not see coming. I didn't see that this was going to happen. So what Lauren tells him, she says that everybody knows about you. Everybody knows everything that you do. They're just pretending, Truman. Do you understand? Truman's obviously very confused on what's going on. Lauren says that her name is actually Sylvia, and someone claiming to be Lauren's father has come out of the car. He's come to get her. She says that she's never seen this man before, which all just feels like weird kidnapping vibes. And I'm like, this is not okay. Like, it legitimately just feels like someone's come and like kidnapped her.
She has schizophrenia.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to say. As the father in quotes
Yeah.
is dragging her away, she explains that it's all a set, it's all a show, that it's all fake, everyone's watching him. The father, like you just mentioned, says that it's schizophrenia, and Truman isn't the first person that she's like done this to, and that they've tried everything. They've tried hypnotism, they've tried shock therapy, and I don't know how you treat schizophrenia, or if you can treat it, or what it is. I have no idea if that's how you treat it, but my question was, is that how you treat it? And also, you say you've tried everything. That was 2 things. Doesn't feel like you've really exhausted the everything.
I think the crazy thing about that is we as an audience know that she's being taken by a man who is not her father, and as an actor is being forced off of set, if you will.
Yeah. Like, she's just, bye.
I think, and then he says, of course, the most iconic line. He's like, "Oh, you won't see, can I see you tomorrow?" And he's like, "We're moving to Fiji."
Yeah. And then I wrote, this explains the Fiji obsession.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now I understand why he wants to go to Fiji. So, yeah, it's really messed up that they just kidnapped her off of set, pretty much.
I mean, what are you gonna do? Like,
They did what they needed to do as showrunners.
You're gonna let her break the continuity of your TV show?
But also, like, if they felt like she was a threat, again, why are they letting her onto the set consistently?
I mean, that's a great question. I think, like, again, it comes from this, like, need to. I think, like, she was on the TV show as an extra, probably, and then, but she didn't agree with what they're doing, so she was trying to, like, make waves, you know?
Possibly. I don't know. But it again, it's just like, if after that first meeting, like, they already had the inkling, why did they keep letting her back on the set? It just didn't make sense to me. If you're the showrunner, why would you do that? If that's not what you want.
Hard to replace an extra in the Truman Show,
No.
maybe?
No.
Maybe no, but maybe, like, in this specific TV show, you have to be like, there's like a bunch of paperwork. It's really hard to fire people. Good union, all that stuff.
It's very possible. Who knows? We'll go with that. We'll go with union. Yeah. So,
SAG just won.
whee! So she is gone, and she has left her red jumper. And we learn that he didn't follow because mom then got sick and he couldn't leave her. So then he married Meryl on the rebound, and Truman sees Sylvia's button on the red jumper back in real time. So he sees the how's it gonna end again. I don't really know. I don't know how it's gonna end. So we see Truman, and he is using the eyes of the girls in the magazines that he's getting to try to find Sylvia's eyes. And
Yeah.
he thinks that he's done it, and then we see Sylvia watching him on TV lovingly. So she does really care about Truman.
She does, and I think it's, you know, it's really sweet. It turns the Truman Show from a horror film in my head to kind of a romantic comedy in a way.
Okay. I haven't really been thinking of it either way. I've just kind of been thinking of this is messed up.
Fair. It's a horror film for you, Ankit.
It's really messed up. Yeah, it's messed up. I don't like it.
Fair.
Anyway, so that's the end of the day. We then get to day 10,911. And on his way to work, the radio begins malfunctioning. And we hear people behind the scenes saying, "Stand by 1, get ready for action," etc. He's heading west on Stewart. He will be there in 90 seconds. Extras be ready. And just as he's turning onto Lancaster Avenue, we hear the radio saying that he's turning onto Lancaster Avenue. Truman also then almost hits a lady. He doesn't hit her. He almost hits a lady. And they say change the frequencies. And there's a beautiful shot where everyone scrunches around a loud buzzing in their ears.
Yeah.
And then everyone's back to normal. And it's just really funny.
I thought he hit the lady. I was watching it. I was like, oh man, did he just hit it? Did he just kill an extra?
Just kill an extra. No, he almost hits her.
Fair.
But he
That
doesn't quite nick her.
that extra was sent home with an extra $10 a pay.
Ah, yes, $10 whole. Can buy a sandwich. Actually, not in this economy. Can't even do that anymore.
In the 90s is all right.
In the 90s, it was great. Not today. So, the radio announcer says that they picked up some police frequencies. This happens from time to time. And we then see the paper, which reads, "Crackdown on homeless. Sea Haven Island City Father says enough is enough. Officials respond to public outcry over nagging problem."
All about the
Okay.
homeless, you know?
Yeah, the one.
Hey, we gotta make him not believe that his father, who was an extra, showed up again.
That's still so messed up that they killed his dad to keep him on the island.
Yeah. I mean, everything they do in the show is planned. Like, everything. To the minute detail of his life is Kristoff's plan.
Which is so messed up. I don't like it.
The only thing Kristoff can't plan for, and the variable is him. He is the variable in Kristoff's formula.
Which we are about to learn.
Yeah.
So Truman is a bit deterred by this. He walks into the bank, but just keeps going in circles in the turning door, the circular door. I don't really know what we call it. It's the spinning door.
Yeah, BJ's has one.
BJ's has one. What's BJ's?
It's a restaurant in my hometown.
Sure. Sounds good.
It's really good. I think there's a name for those spinning doors.
Revolving doors. That's what it is.
Are
The
they
word
literally
is
just called revolving?
I think they're just called revolving doors.
No, there has to be a special name for them.
No, I'm pretty sure it's just a revolving door.
Yeah, but like that's too boring. There has to be a name, like Caddy Corner or okay.
Synonyms for revolving doors include double doors, Dutch doors, French doors, lattices,
No, none of those.
portcullises,
Yeah.
portsins, storm doors, and trap doors.
Okay, it's a revolving door. Fine. Fine. We're not clever in English. We don't come up with cool names for things.
Welcome to the English language. I don't know why you're surprised.
We could have called it a shooteroo, something fun.
We could, you know what? Let's call it a shooteroo from now on.
Yeah, cool. So he's in the shooteroo.
So he's in the shooteroo, and he keeps going on.
Don't know where I came up with
apparently
that.
what's happened. We're in the shooteroo, and we have just gone in circles for a bit, and he ends up back outside. And the music is building, almost like he's about to try an epic escape as he walks away from the bank. And we see the mirror on the car is fitted to move so that they can spy on him. And I was just like, that's just a really cool shot. Like, well done. Like, that's just a cool shot. Like, nice. Truman then sits on a table and is watching the others around him. Not on a table, but at a table.
Yes.
And he almost walks straight in front of a bus, but then realizes that it won't hit him. So he tests this newfound superpower on the green car, which also stops. And I just go, I mean, I hope this isn't a power and that it's just people would just stop for pedestrians in general. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, please don't try this superpower at home.
I think the thing about this is if an extra kills the main character of this TV show, the TV show just ends. Because if you really think about it, like, okay, let's say that Truman doesn't think that the world is fake and he just goes about his life. They probably want him to have a kid with Meryl, right? They probably want him to have children.
They've been mentioning that.
They want him to work all the way till retirement, and then he'll die. And that's his life. Like, they want to film his whole life from conception to death.
Which is weird.
Kristoff's formula, man. This is what he wants.
I don't like it. I don't like this Kristoff person.
So
He's messed up.
Of course, when the main character of a TV show, imagine you're the extra and you kill him. Oh boy, you getting sued.
But I mean, like, that was his life. They've succeeded. They have filmed his whole life.
Yeah, but I think like all the extras would lose their jobs.
Well, 100%. There would be no show anymore.
Exactly.
Do you think that Christoph had this plan of like, Truman would procreate and then, we will film the kids and then the kids will be the next set of the show? Like, they'll be part of the show as well and they're not
Ooh.
actually going to know. Do you think like he had the generational plan?
Because I've watched the second half of the film and I don't want to ruin it for you.
You won't answer?
I won't answer
Okay.
because I feel like either way would give something away.
Okay, fair. I appreciate you just abstaining from answering. Thank you for not spoiling what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's something to think about. I think he may have. I think he may have had that thought that he wanted the generational thing. And have it extend, and it's not just Truman, but it's possibly the kids as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, ladies and gentlemen, just real quick, I know I said it earlier, but don't try the superpower at home. Don't step out into oncoming traffic. It's not good.
Yeah, whether you're in the UK or in America or anywhere with cars, just don't do it.
Anywhere in the world, just look before you cross the street. Take a look. Look both ways.
It reminds me of the funny Key and Peele skit where it's like they're interviewing the NBA player after he's like won a tournament and he's like on a really like big high. He's like, "You can fly, you can turn into a motorcycle. Kids, go onto the freeway and turn into a motorcycle." And then like it cuts to like the future and he's like in a press conference, "To the 9 families that lost their children, to my words, I'm really sorry."
I haven't seen this skit.
Oh, it's so brilliant. Key and Peele.
I've seen a lot of Key and Peele skits, so like I'm surprised that I'm not like remembering this one.
Just fine. I think it's like sports podcast or like Sports Winner, something like that. YouTube Key and Peele Sports Winner. It's hilarious.
Okay, sounds good.
But also, yeah, kids, don't try that at home.
Yeah, don't try this at home.
We've given our warning. We're not liable.
We're not liable. All right. So the arms are outstretched and he crosses the street and then he makes a run for it into a building. And he gets into the building and he's waiting for the lift and security guard asks if he needs help. Truman says that he has an appointment at Gable Enterprises. Apparently they have gone bust. Truman then sees the backstage area and they quickly close the door and 2 security officers toss him out of the building and Truman is trying to figure out what is going on and the security guards say that they are remodeling. I'm just saying, if you are watching every second of this man's life, you should have been prepared for this. You were bad at your job behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, like, he is literally doing a bunch of things to not get caught. That's why he's like going every random which way and all doing all this stuff. And so they weren't expecting him to show up there.
That is fair, but
they weren't expecting the elevator to open either, probably.
That's probably true. So Truman runs down the street and he sees a little vehicle that says goodies. And he runs in and turns out he runs in because that's Marlon's little cart that he drives for work. So he goes to talk to Marlon and he's explaining to Marlon that he thinks that he is mixed up in something. Marlon is very confused and asks what he is mixed up with. And I appreciate that at the beginning, Marlon says he's behind and he's a good friend. Like, he can't stop to talk to Truman, but he's a good friend to where he'll still have a conversation with Truman, but he's just like, I still got to do my job, buddy. Like, I'll have a conversation with you, but I got to like, just, I got to keep loading this vending machine. Like,
he's like the Among Us. If you've ever played Among Us, he's like, I got to do my task. Let me finish my task and then I'll deal with your BS.
Well, like, I'll still deal with your BS. I just need to do my task.
Oh, I love that video game. It was so fun when it was popular.
It's still so much fun. We just don't have enough friends to play.
Oh, we do. Just no one who plays it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it's still a very fun game. I really do. Because every single round is different.
Play it on the phone. It's just like Mafia. I love Mafia. It's so fun.
It's great. It's a great game.
Yeah. Truman Show Mafia. Let's go.
Truman Show Mafia. Okay.
One guy doesn't know it's mafia, but the rest of the room knows it's mafia.
Okay, so the rest of the room knows. Out of the characters that we have met so far, who are the 2 mafia members?
Oh, definitely his mom and his wife.
Cool. I think like Marlon is possibly like the medic or something.
Oh,
Someone who like revives or like tries to help out the most.
Kristoff's God.
Kristoff's God. Kristoff is very much God.
Yeah. Truman's just a villager. He's just a poor villager.
He's just a poor villager that's just caught up in everything.
He's in like, One Night Werewolf, and he's a poor villager.
He's the poor villager that's just like, I'm confused. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so him and his friend, they start having a conversation in the store.
Right. They're having a conversation. Marlon still's got to do his task, but has the conversation. And Truman tries to explain it, but he's like, all right, it's a bit hard to explain. But he's like, look, there were people on the elevator. There was no backing, but there were people there. And then on the radio this morning, it was following me along, talking about everything I was doing. Marlon obviously knows what's happening, but just laughs. And again, this is where I'm like, Marlon plays his part well.
Yeah.
Like, his job as an actor, he's like, he knows what's going on.
I mean, he's been the best friend character, I think they say, since he was in 8th grade. So, I mean, he's been playing this role for a long time.
Yeah, so, like, he's been playing this role for more than half of his life at this point.
Exactly. So he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and he's just doing a really good job, which later on a little bit we will see people who don't do as well of a job who may have also been there for a very long period of time. So, Marlon, great job. Well done. I like you. Other than Truman, you're my favorite character. So, Marlon says, Truman, this is just one of your fantasies. Truman thinks that it's about his dad and that he's still alive. And he will tell Marlon later, but he thinks that he is being followed right now. And then Marlon, credit to him, just looks around, sees a store full of like elderly people, and he's like, Who is following you around, Truman? And like when he asks that, you just get a beautiful shot of like this old lady like looking at an orange or something. Like you're just like, what are you talking about, Truman? Like again,
poor old lady, just getting blamed for everything.
I just wanted an orange. Truman says that it's hard to tell, but they look like regular people. They could be anybody. And it's only hard for them to tell when he's unpredictable.
Well, guess what? They're all aliens. Every single one of them, Ankit, is an alien. All right? They're Skrulls in disguise. We're going to need the Avengers to come out and save Truman from these aliens. So we're going to send them in. They're going to beat the old people up because everyone loves that. And then that's the end of the film. I've ruined it for you. You don't need to watch the second half. There you go. That's the end of the Truman Show. That's the Truman Show that nobody wrote. I'm kidding.
So, I know that you're kidding, but I really hope that's what happens. That sounds like an amazing film.
Truman has just joined the MCU. Congratulations, Truman.
Surprise, it didn't start in 2008. It started in, when did this come out? 1997 or something?
Yeah, 1997.
Okay, so it came out the year I was born. I think this film is older than me.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it came out in December of 97.
You are Truman. Later do you know, Ankit, you've been living a lie.
That would be impressive, because if I were Truman, boy, have things gone poorly sometimes.
It's better TV, man. It's better TV. I mean,
hey, it is. It's like, hey, what's wrong? I don't know. Ankit's falling apart again. Ah, okay.
The TV show is called Ankit's Falling Apart. You just named the title. There you go.
Again, you're starting to scare me a bit. I don't like this.
Sorry.
I know you're lying, but like...
Let's keep going.
Yeah, honestly, it explains why no one wants to hire me as an actor. Yay.
Aw, because he's already acting his life.
God. We have gone completely off the rails.
Thank you, editing.
Oh, I have an odd feeling that Pranav is keeping this in.
Hi, Pranav. we appreciate you, man.
Thanks, dude. He's great. We love him. He does a good job. Thanks, man. Shout out to you. Anyway, back to the Truman Show and not Ankit's life is falling apart. So anyway, he's being unpredictable. So Truman claps and asks if anything happened. Nope. And Truman says that they need to get out of here. Marlon says that he can't. Truman grunts and Marlon caves and says, "You're going to get both of our asses fired. You know that, right?" And then it's just like, "Yep." And it's like, "All right, let's do it." And off they go. I like Marlon. I really hope he doesn't end up being a bad friend to Truman. I really hope, like, if anybody stays in Truman's life after Truman leaves the show, I hope it's Marlon.
Yeah.
Like, Marlon is just a good friend. Like, he understands that he can't tell Truman the truth about certain things, but he truly is that good friend. Like, he's just like, all right, like, dude, I know you're off your rocker, or like, you might be even telling the truth and you're going to get us fired. But, like, you know what? I'm a ride or die, so let's go.
Yeah.
So, out on the beach, Truman speculates, and he thinks that he may be being set up for something. And the summer that Marlon was hauling chickens for Kaiser, he went all over, but never found a place like this. It's the perfect sunset. And I was like, big guy, quite a paintbrush. And I was like, I wonder if it's actually a paintbrush, and they just painted it, and it's a backdrop.
I mean, it is a film set.
It's a film set. It could just be a backdrop. I don't know. So Truman tells Marlon that he's going to go away for a while. And Marlon's like, all right, see ya. And I like that they were like, yeah, like Marlon was gone for a summer. And it was probably like break for Marlon from being on the show. Right? And,
yeah. So he could actually live some life.
Yeah. So that he can go do what he needs to do. Because you got to keep in mind, for all the extras, for all the friends, for everybody, this is a 24/7 job. Like, you have to come in every single day. I guess the only time that, like, you really couldn't is, like, if you're sick. And then it's like, as a kid, you go over to Marlon's house, and then Marlon's mom is like, sorry, Marlon's sick. He can't come out to play today. Right? Like, that would kind of be the situation where you don't see Marlon for a couple days. But other than that, you're there pretty much every single day, especially growing up and when you're in a small town and you see your friends every day. That's just how it is. So we're flipping through a photo album now of young Truman. And this is where I was like, hold on. Are his parents in on it too? Like, why are they okay with this? Or was he an orphan and then, like, they just picked up, like, this orphan baby that apparently everyone is okay with doing this messed up thing too? I don't get it. And again, more questions. Like, who greenlit this project? How did you get the green light for this project? Who thought, hey, let's trap a man in a fantasy world where he thinks everything is just going to be true and it's just psychological torture, and this seems like the perfect TV show? And who are the psychopaths that watch this TV show who are like, I'm going to watch the psychological torture that people have put him through, where everything's planned, but he doesn't think that anything's planned, but everything's actually planned. And, like, they don't actually get to experience life, and they're okay with this man just being real but not real when nothing's real. And, like, does Meryl actually love him? Is Marlon actually his friend? Is his mom actually his mom? If the last one is true, then I have major problems with her. Like, and if so, why did you kill the dad in the show just to keep him there? Like, why is everyone so okay with this? This isn't okay. I hate it.
I'm trying to, like, find out who produced it, because I was hoping that, like, it was Fox or someone.
Oh, who produced it?
I think eventually Truman Show, obviously. I'll see. Let's see who owned Truman Show.
It was just greenlit.
Yeah.
Hey, surprise. The Truman Show was actually real.
It was production company was Scott Rudkin Productions. Oh, cool. Paramount Pictures. It's a Paramount. It's a Paramount.
Okay,
property.
okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Paramount shady. They own Nickelodeon.
Blue's a Menace.
Foster's was on Cartoon Network.
My bad. Blue's still a menace, though.
Cartoon Network is not owned by Paramount.
Blue's a menace. So, yes. So this is kind of where I'm at, and I'm just like, I don't know why everyone is so okay with this. So Truman says that they should get Mother home, and then we see Mount Rushmore, and Truman's like, it looks really small, and I'm like, and the mom's just like, yeah, things do when you look back, and I was like, nah, they do when they're fake.
Yeah,
So-
not the real Mount Rushmore at all.
It's not the real Mount Rushmore at all. They try to say that like, oh, you slept the whole way there. So also, where are they? Like in the world? Because if you're trying to say that you drove to Mount Rushmore in a day and back from like, I'm feeling like they're somewhere up in like New England area.
Yeah, New Haven, right? That's
New
what it's
Haven,
called.
it makes me think, or Sea Haven, it makes me think New England area, and like they're on an island, so it makes me think, like, you can't drive to Mount Rushmore in a day. Like, that's not how this works. Does Truman not have any idea of geography? I don't know. There's a whole thing. Again, I could go on this note forever.
Yeah, it's called Sea Haven is the name of the city.
Yeah.
And so we could assume that it's in the Atlantic Ocean, maybe?
That's my guess, right? My guess is they're in New England-ish area, is my guess.
Sure.
A little bit of the town makes it look like Murder, She Wrote when she's in Maine.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of that type of town, right? In Murder, She Wrote.
That type of town scares me. It's way too suburb.
It's way too suburbs. Okay. So we then see the wedding of Truman and Meryl, and it was the happiest days of our lives. It was the happiest day of their lives. And Truman just says, mm-hmm. And he smiles and shakes his head, no. And I'm like, that is the most forced smiled in his lovely wedding photo. The bridesmaids are Jean, Jody, and Joanne. Could you not buy another continent? And the mom says that she wants to hold a grandchild before she goes. Mom, you look like you're 52. You ain't going anywhere. And Meryl takes mom home, tells Truman to stay and relax. His favorite show is coming on. Plus, the mom says that they need to discuss a certain person's birthday. And my prediction was that the day of his successful escape will be his birthday. I think that's the day that he's going to be able to break free.
So I think the irony is he mentions a birthday like a little bit earlier in the film, and then they're like, "Oh, we need to plan your birthday." It's like I don't think it's actually his birthday. He's just said, "Oh, my birthday's coming up," and so they've just now the TV show is planning it because it's always adapting to everything he says.
That's fair. I do think it is possible that it is his actual birthday.
Fair.
I think it's possible that like he has a general concept of time. And he understands that his birthday comes around once a year. But also we'll get into that in just a moment of why I think it could possibly be his actual birthday. So his favorite show is the Golden Oldies, apparently. And they say, show me the way to go home. And the episode on the show is about a small town and how small town life is so good and that you don't have to leave home to learn what the world is all about and that nobody is poor and who has friends. Truman keeps flipping through the photos, seems to notice something. Meryl has a ring on her finger before the wedding?
That's not what he noticed.
What did he notice? I didn't clock what he noticed because it zoomed in on like
her fingers were crossed.
Oh. Okay.
Her fingers are crossed, so like it's not real.
Sure. That doesn't like that's just I don't really know where it came from. I know growing up like it was always a thing like if you cross your fingers what you're saying isn't true kind of deal. I don't know where that superstition came from, but like
Christianity.
Oh, thanks.
Most things Christianity.
Thanks, Christianity. So, on that note, we're going to take a quick break for an intermission, and then we will come back on the next day of The Truman Show. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Post Finale. I hope you're all enjoying this episode with Stephen, where we are starting to go through the Truman Show. If you would like to gain access to some bonus content, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/coopforge. So that's patreon.com/CO_OPFORGE. And when you sign up for the Patreon, you're not just getting bonus content for Post Finale, but you're going to be getting bonus content for Flip the Scripts and another show that's in the works and should be coming out here in a week or two. I'm still keeping it a little under wraps until we're fully ready to let that one go live. But you will not just be getting bonus content for one show. You'll be getting bonus content for any show that is done here on Co-op Forge. And it helps us continue being able to do this for you, the listeners. We really want to help grow our community this year and get a lovely group of people to talk about films, to talk about books, talk about nerdy things. It's a good time. You don't want to miss out. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Post Finale Pod. You can also follow us at Co-op Forge, CO_OPFORG on all the platforms. And if you want to follow us on TikTok, we just have one TikTok for everything that we're doing here on Co-op Forge. And that is also at Co-op Forge on TikTok, CO_OPFORGE. And if you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, that's really helpful as well. Word of mouth is the best way to help grow the shows. It really, really does mean a lot to us. Just reach out to a friend and be like, hey, you like podcasts? Hey, you like films? Just reach out. It really does mean a lot. Be sure to leave a rating or review if you're listening on any of the podcast app. That helps more than you know. And if you're listening on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. And we haven't mentioned it yet, but if we hit 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, then we are going to be talking about the Twilight series over on Flip the Scripts. So be sure to hit that button if you want to hear us talk about Twilight, which neither of us have ever read before. But I've rambled on for a while, so thank you so much for listening to this episode. Happy New Year to everyone, and let's just get back into the episode. So now we are on the next day, and it is day 10,912. Now, this is why I thought that it is possible that it is actually going to be his birthday, because I was curious on what day 10,912 would be, so I Googled it. Well, I didn't Google it, I just did math, because I can do that much math, and I found out that it means about 29.82, so he should be coming up on his 30th birthday fairly soon, which is why I think there is a possibility that his birthday is actually truly coming up. So,
okay,
didn't think that it was his fake birthday or anything. So
I feel like they fake so much in this that I wouldn't pull it past them.
I understand where you're coming from. I just got curious and did quick math. So that's why I think that it's possible that it is truly his 30th birthday that's coming up.
Great.
So Truman is messing with the radio, and he needs to talk to Meryl, but outside, Meryl says that she is running late. Truman asks her what is the rush, and she's just like, surgery. She was like, there was an elevator disaster downtown on the news yesterday. The cable snapped and it fell 10 floors. The building was right next to where Truman works. And she is stumbling so much. Like, she is not good at holding it together, unlike Marlon.
No, she going down.
Yeah. She's like, we have to amputate a young woman who was in the elevator. She was very young. And it's just like, oh, okay. And then Truman, and because you brought this up, it makes more sense. He says he'll cross his fingers for her. And it's like, oh, like he knows something's up. Something's up. And I didn't know, this catches Meryl. Like, she kind of does a double take almost. And then she seems to pause briefly before smiling and then heading out. Right?
Yeah. So
Truman knows something's up.
Yeah, so Truman's starting to unravel the mystery of the Truman Show. And everyone but Marlon's freaking out.
Yeah, Marlon is just like, sure, dude, do what you need to do. I got you. Have fun.
Yeah.
Marlon's the only one that's actually good at his job.
Like, literally.
So Truman says, have fun at surgery, blah, 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 have a good day. And then he watches her run out the window. And then he grabs his own bike and he follows. And then intense follow music is upon us. Yep, pretty much.
5 points if you can name that film.
So moving on, Truman gets to the
Wizard
hospital.
of Oz, Ankit. Come on.
I've seen it. I just don't know the music from it that well.
Okay, so Truman goes to the hospital after I'm disappointed with Ankit.
What else is new? Get used to it.
I am used to it.
Truman goes to the hospital and he is stopped by a nurse and he explains that he is looking for his wife, Nurse Burbank.
Yeah.
Not possible, she's in pre-op. And Truman asks the nurse to pass on a message, and the message is that he needs to go to Fiji. He will call her when he gets there. Truman says, well, thank you for passing on the message. Literally turns, doesn't even walk anywhere, just like does a 360 like spin, and then turns around and just follows the nurse that he was just talking to. Like, how are people so bad at their job?
My favorite thing is the amount of hospital ways they're trying to get him not to get to his wife.
Oh yeah, I have that. Yeah. So we've got a couple that pop up. So he starts following. The music starts becoming more intense, more ominous, and Truman tries to get slowed down. You got people in wheelchairs that try to slow him down. He doesn't care. He quickly goes down the corridor before the wheelchairs attack him. We see a man with a large cart, which is just a very inefficient way to transport anything in a hospital. But I like that, like, Truman was trying to get around and the guy wasn't letting him get around, so Truman just grabs the cart, pushes it down the hall so that he can stop being blocked and goes, good luck! And he just keeps going.
And then he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go into the operating room, which it was a real situation, you couldn't get into in modern day.
No.
There'd be codes.
Lots of codes. There are no codes. I don't know if there were codes in 97. No clue.
There was nothing in 97. You can go out of the way to a gate in an airport in 97.
That's true. There was very little security.
9/11 changed everything
around the world. So he then gets to the room. They know that he's at the room, and we hear Meryl say, I know, shh. And I'm like, Meryl, you are so bad at putting things together. Like, you are so terrible at your job. Like, honestly, Meryl, if you are the mafia member, you're getting killed. You're getting killed.
Yeah.
She's not good at her job. I don't understand why Meryl is his wife. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. She's not good at keeping it together.
No.
And I feel like if anyone needs to be able to keep it together, it's his wife. So then we get into the surgery, but before we see anything, the security guard grabs Truman and says that this isn't going to be pretty. So we're gone. That's the end of that. Meryl's not doing good. Truman's starting to unravel things a bit. So we see a sign, and it says, travelers beware. And then it says, have you bought enough travel insurance to protect against terrorists, disease, wild animals, street gangs? And I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, how is travel insurance supposed to, like, help you from, terrorists and street gangs? Like,
everything.
This is not what travel insurance does.
Says who, Ankit? The insurance company? Sounds like you're in the pocket of the insurance company.
I'd like to have insurance. That sounds nice.
Don't talk about insurance, man. We're American. We can't talk about insurance.
So moving on, it could happen to you. And then we see a poster of a plane with a bolt of lightning going through the wing. The wing is just perfectly intact.
They just want him to stop him from flying. They're just like, yeah, don't fly.
Don't fly. right? And I'm like, where are we? And I was like, oh, right, duh, we're at a travel agency. The travel agent tries to help him. She looks onto her computer, and Truman says that, you know what? He has his suitcase packed. He's ready to leave today. The travel agent says that there is nothing for at least a month. It is the busy season. And Truman says, you know what? It's okay. Don't worry. I will make other arrangements. So we see him trying to get on a bus to Chicago, but conveniently enough, the bus won't start now. Whoops. And they get everybody off the bus. Truman doesn't get off. And the bus driver says that he's sorry. And it does actually seem like he is genuinely sorry. Like, I feel like that bus driver is like, I get it, dude. Like, you are going through like hell, right? And what they're
Yeah.
doing to you isn't okay. And it kind of felt like the bus driver is like, I didn't want to be put in this situation, but I kind of need to pay my bills, which is why I'm on this show, right?
It's
Like,
a very much of a thing of like all the extras are there and not expecting anybody to like they're not expecting to be with Truman at all, and all of a sudden Truman's in their shot and they're like, oh crap,
yeah.
now we have to be on screen.
Now we have to be on screen, and it's just like, I would understand if an extra, like the extra as the nurse that took that message for Truman, I understand her being nervous. I understand like the doctors in the hospital being nervous, right?
Yeah.
We didn't mention it, but but the patient on the operating table like moves, and they're like, no, 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 be quiet. Like,
Also, they cut her leg
yeah, they cut her leg.
because they're trying to do leg surgery, and he's just like, I won't leave, and they make him leave before they can finish, making an actor do amputee surgery.
They finally are like, wait, guys, maybe we should grab him and take him away from there. But
Before we
so
kill
like,
someone, yeah.
yeah, I understand the extras not being good at their job necessarily, right? If Truman shows up and they're not prepared to take
Yeah.
care of it or whatever. I don't understand why Meryl is so bad at her job. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Maybe she didn't want to marry Truman, and the show producer's like, nope, you have to.
Maybe we'll see, but I mean, I just feel like you got to be better at your job. If that's what you're hired to do, you got to be better at your job as an actor.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you are an actor. Figure it out.
Yeah.
I know it's a harsh thing to say, but I'm also an actor. So, like, figure it out. It's not necessarily easy, but figure it out.
Yeah.
That's why you get paid the big bucks. Sometimes,
Exactly.
Not often, but occasionally. I feel like she would be being paid quite well.
Definitely.
I feel like Meryl would be getting paid the big bucks. But I don't know. So people are at the diner in the real world and they are talking about Truman. And turns out that, the dentist was from Pensacola, the father was from Des Moines. It's not Chicago, which is where Truman's trying to go. They're confused on why he wants to go to Chicago. And the young waitress in that diner is just like, he's not going anywhere. He has to have it out with Meryl.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to end this episode.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
gonna have it out with Meryl.
He's gonna fight this woman.
Yeah. I do.
No domestic violence. We don't.
Yeah,
we don't
please
condone
please
it.
don't hurt people. Physical abuse is not good. Verbal abuse not good. Abuse not good. That's not what we're here for. But Truman has been abused.
Yeah.
So Truman's starting to break free, and we are here for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what this fight is going to entail. I think what's going to happen is potentially he does have it out with Meryl. Meryl's going to try things in her power to get him to stop. But I think eventually they're going to get in the car and he's just going to try his best to drive off of the island in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that in the next, I have about an hour left of the film. I think about 20 to 25 minutes in is the last that we're going to see about Meryl.
We'll see.
We'll see. You can't really say a lot, but yeah, I think my prediction is still holding up fairly well, that he's gonna start figuring out, trying to come up with ways to get out of here. I'm not as confident that people in the real world are gonna be able to try to help him, but I think that they might now be rooting for him to potentially get out. But they might not be able to help him, which was what my original guess was, but we will see. I do not know, but that is where we are ending this episode. Stephen, is there anything you want to tell the lovely people of the world? Is there anywhere that they can find you doing things, stuff like that?
Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook, my Instagram, snyman17. It's back up and running because it's been down for a few weeks. And yeah, when I'm directing a show again, I'll post it on there. That's about it. And I hope you're enjoying the Truman Show. And if you haven't watched it, do. It's really good. And watch the alternate ending as well.
Wait, there are two endings?
There are two endings.
Does Netflix have two endings?
No.
Wait, so I only get one of the endings?
You get the ending that like is the true ending. I think there is an alternate ending that I've heard about. I've never seen it. I've heard about somewhere on YouTube.
Okay, fine. That might be bonus content then.
It's a deleted scene, I think.
Okay, cool. I might do that as bonus content or something later. But Stephen, thank you so much for joining on this episode. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. And until next week, when we continue figuring out what's going to happen and how this going at it with Meryl is going to go, we'll catch y'all later.
If you like me and Ankit, please join us for our other show on Co-op Forge, Flip the Scripts.
We do have that. We are currently going through the Percy Jackson movies. Oh boy.
We'll get there. We're also going to be doing Hunger Games right after that. So if you're really a big fan of the Hunger Games, even the new movie, Songbird and Snakes, please keep watching.
Yeah, keep watching that stuff. The Hunger Games should hopefully be out in February timeframe, but you can be sure, follow Co-op Forge, follow Flip the Scripts, follow Post Finale Pod. All the information will be on social media. We are trying to get better at social media as well. So, yeah, if you want to keep up to date, it's really appreciated. But I already signed off, but I guess we'll sign off again because we forgot. But we'll catch y'all later. Bye! Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Post Finale. Post Finale is created, hosted, and produced by me, Ankit Madhira. Our editor is Pranav Nair. The music is by Ankit Madhira and Megan Hutchison, and the art is by Jarid Rother. If you would like to gain access to bonus content and gain access to help potentially decide what we do on the show, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/coopforge. That's patreon.com/co_opforge. Sign up for any of the tiers. You get various types of bonus content, like helping us pick what shows and things we do in the future, what films we talk about. You get access to notes, you get access to some bonus audio, some bonus episodes, all fun things over there on Patreon. We are really trying to build a nice community of people. You also get access to our Discord, where you can chat with other people who also listen to our shows. And it really does help us out a lot to continue being able to do this. So thank you to anyone who is going to do this in the future. If you want to help out the show in a non-monetary way, that's great as well. Just follow us on social media, talk about us on social media. You can find the show itself at Post Finale Pod on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and you can follow us at Co-op Forge, COOPFORGE on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. TikTok, we just have the one over there for Co-op Forge, but you can find us there as well. Reach out, leave comments. We'd love to hear from you, and we like interacting with our listeners. So by all means, reach out, leave a comment. If you notice something silly, point it out. It's great. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and be sure to join us next week when Stephen joins us again and we continue talking about The Truman Show. And until then, I'll catch y'all later.